Hello, my name is Graciela. Welcome to my channel. The reason why I created this YouTube channel is primarily kind of as a personal digital documentation of my journey through medical school, and also for students maybe who are pre-medical or who are in high school, maybe considering going into medicine, into college, or if you're in medical school, or if you're a doctor and you just kind of want to look back on what it felt like to be in medical school. I'm going to be starting medical school in exactly 1 week at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine. I'm going to start out by going through my application on AMCAS for American Medical College Application Services. So pretty much every single medical school in the US, you can apply through AMCAS. I guess I'll start out by honestly giving you my stats, because sometimes I watch these videos and you have to like scroll to the very end to find out what they are. So my GPA was a 3.73 at the point when I applied. My BCPM GPA was a 3.68, or maybe it was a 3.65. I'm not sure. Somewhere in the 3.6s. My MCAT was a 504, and I took it one time. That being said, I'm going to go through my application. So I did skip to page 4 because the first few pages are basically just biographic information. So I'm starting out with the academic record. There should be a picture right here on the screen that shows you my grades. So on the first page, it starts out with your transfer credits. So I did come in with 18 credits from APs. So I came in with French, calculus, psychology, Spanish. You can see my first year down there. I got mostly A's. That was during COVID, so everything was online. It wasn't too bad. And then second semester of freshman year was a little bit more rough. I got a B in biology, almost got a C. And in one of my philosophy classes, medieval intellectual tradition. And then skipping down, you can see first semester of sophomore year was really good. Second semester, another B. Physics, I got a B. I took that over the summer actually. And then junior year, first semester of junior year was really hard because I was in biochemistry and human physiology, both really hard classes, got B's in those as well. And you'll see toward the ends of this page, I have several comm classes. When I studied abroad, it was a communication major study abroad program. So I took systemic inquiry, contemporary communication issues. I took master works of arts, took principles of marketing. So those are the 4 classes I took while abroad. I took them through my university. I studied abroad in Maastricht in the Netherlands. I didn't actually take the classes through Maastricht. Our school had a program taking them there. For a Baylor, you have to take Christian scriptures and Christian heritage. So I took it through the local community college because it was a bit cheaper, and I took it over the summer. So you can see those transfer credits from McLennan Community College at the very bottom. And page 7, my overall GPA was a 3.73, and my BCPM GPA was a 3.65. And let's see, so my MCAT scores. So 504 was my total score. It's 59th percentile rank. And Chem Phys, I got a 126, Cars 127, Biochem 125, and Psych Soc, I got a 126. My Cars was definitely my best. That's what I felt most confident about. So based on my transcript, you can kind of see that I had a pretty even mix of arts classes and science classes. So my major was called University Scholar. It's part of the honors program, and it was an interdisciplinary major where I studied French. Great Text was what it was called. While in the pre-medicine track, I got a Bachelor of Arts, which I believed made me a bit of a unique candidate. If you look at the demographic for medical schools, the majority are Bachelor of Sciences. They get biology degrees or health sciences, something related to that. So it's very rare to see someone who is a language or some type of art major. And that's what I also was interested in and I was passionate in. And so I really wanted to get to take French classes and get to dabble in some business classes and philosophy. I don't know if that distinguished me at all, but I definitely got questions about it in all of my interviews, why I chose to get a Bachelor of Arts. Next up, I'm going to be going through my experience with AMCAS. I believe you can do a total of up to 10 experiences, and that includes extracurriculars, research opportunities, volunteer, community service. They really want you to narrow down your activities. So basically put your 10 most important activities, and out of those, you choose 3 most meaningful experiences, and you write a little mini essay blurb about why it's your most meaningful. For this, I'm just going to put the picture up there and you can pause it, and if you want to read the whole thing you can. I had my studying abroad at Maastricht being one of my most meaningful experiences. Wrote a little essay about that. And my exit interview for my major, we had to read 30 books from the medieval, ancient, and modern eras. And then we were tested on them at the end of our junior year. I put, for community service, I was a welcome week leader, which is basically just the freshmen, we welcome them in for a week, help them get settled into their dorms, and help them make friends, etc. I was a learning assistant for 3 semesters for a genetics class, which is it was just Bio 200. Everyone has to take it. Basically once a week I would go in and help with active learning, and then I would also hold an office hour once a week. And then finally, for my big community service, I helped at a nonprofit called La Puerta, which basically gave different opportunities for Hispanic residents that were trying to become citizens, including teaching a naturalization test or class, GED class, sewing classes, all different types of classes, even cosmetology classes, hair classes. They taught everything there, but I specifically helped with the citizenship class. And then finally, for my kind of fun thing, for my paid employment, I put that I was an employee at Magnolia Market, which is in Waco, founded by Chip and Jo. And it was a really fun experience, so I wanted to put that down. For shadowing, I had 4 different places that I shadowed. I shadowed a cardiologist, a pediatrician, a family medicine doctor, and several orthopedics, because I was pretty interested in that, still am. And so I got to shadow 4 different doctors, or 3 different doctors, I think. So yeah, and then this was also one of my most meaningful experiences, so I wrote a little blurb about that. Other experiences, I was in Le Cercle Français, which is basically just like French club. Once a week we met and we talked in French. And then I was also a member of a sorority called Kappa Alpha Theta. And yeah, so those are my experiences. I think it's very important to narrow down, or if you're beginning college, to think about what is important to you and to decide that early on, because especially for these types of applications, they want to see commitment. They don't want to just see that you're in it for 1 semester or a few weeks. They want to see that you've been in it since all throughout, and that you're able to have leadership positions and things like that. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to go through my personal statement. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically the gist of it is I talked a lot about my experience teaching at La Puerta, and then also teaching as a learning assistant, and then being a student, and how all these things are very important with becoming a doctor. A physician must be a compassionate teacher and a receptive student. A doctor must carefully explain a complicated diagnosis to a patient's family members, yet be diligent to stay abreast of new medical research finding. As a physician, I hope to continue teaching others about health and helping them heal. Specifically, I desire to directly affect change within the healthcare system for Hispanic immigrants like my grandfather, Don Hector, whose slow, painful journey through cancer might have been easier with accommodations for the language barrier. Immigrants like Martina, she's one of the ladies in the story, whose status as a non-resident prevents her from qualifying for federal health insurance. Being a doctor would give me the opportunity to advocate for underserved communities and give patients the physical treatment they need. Medical school would be the stepping stone to a fulfilling career that will allow me to use my skills to create positive changes within the healthcare system. So then for my letters of recommendation, I had 3 different professors from my college. I asked them to write me a letter to be sent to the committee, which I had to apply for middle of my junior year, and they basically send over a packet from the college, which looks really good, because it's basically them endorsing you as a pre-medical student who is prepared to go to medical school. And then I also had the pediatrician that I shadowed. She wrote me a recommendation letter. And so then at the very bottom, you can see everywhere that I applied. I applied to 3 Kentucky schools. New Mexico was kind of just a random school that I applied to. I heard it was easy to get into, honestly, so I applied to it. University of Tennessee and Vanderbilt. So out of these 7 schools, I only got interviews for the Kentucky schools. I got interviews for University of Cincinnati, University of Kentucky, and University of Louisville. So University of Kentucky was my first interview. I got waitlisted at first, but then I got taken off the waitlist and was told in February that I was accepted, my first acceptance. And University of Cincinnati, I found out in November that I got an interview. So I interviewed in February, got waitlisted, and I was on the alternate list, never found out. At University of Louisville, I also got an interview for it, I believe in November, and I did my interview in January or February, I'm not sure. I think it was in February. and I got waitlisted and then rejected. So kind of got everything there. For Vanderbilt, New Mexico, and Tennessee, I didn't get anything. I got secondaries back, but I didn't get any interviews. So I did also apply through TMD SAS, the Texas Medical Dental School Application Service. Texas has their own separate system, but they accept mostly Texas residents. So as an out-of-state Texas resident, I stupidly applied for all of the schools, thinking that maybe I had a chance to get in, but I didn't get a single interview, anything back. I got secondaries back, but I didn't get a single interview. So in order to get into a Texas medical school or a school that is out of state, you kind of have to be a very, very competitive applicant in terms of MCAT and GPA. At least that's what I think. Because for in-state, it's a lot easier to get in because in-state schools want to keep their students in-state, if that makes sense. Thanks for watching my first video. There's a lot more I'd love to get into in the future, like interview techniques, different types of interviews, study techniques, and hopefully I'll be back next week giving you a little bit of a day in the life / week in the life of orientation week for medical school. See you later.